Right, welcome back to day 48 of 55 Days of Christ Consciousness. I'm Gina, Soul Inspired Reflections. And remember to like and share these videos because you never know who might it support. And not only does it support me, but it also supports the energy of Christ consciousness being spread and shared through the world. Yeah, one like at a time, right? And we do this together, all right? We do all this work together. And so here we are on day 48 of Christ consciousness. I'm going to go ahead and just bring in a little bit of sage to clear the space. And go ahead and ground yourself by breathing in and connecting with your body, your heart, your love, and be centered. And whatever that means for you. And remember, this is a personal and unique experience in your own evolution as you integrate the Christ consciousness energies within you. Um, and just show yourself some grace, as we've had many changes up until this point at the time this has been read, which is December 15th, 2023. And we'll just go ahead and ask for one card. We'll bring in the Christ energies and also Metatron and Soundathon to assist us grounding, and Metatron as he guides us in our ascension process, and the energies of Jesus and Christ consciousness energies. And remember, it's a level of attainment, okay? The word Christ is a level of energetic attainment. So in this card, we have prayer, contemplation, and connection. Prayer, contemplation, and connection. Beautiful card as we see this young boy, almost reminds me of like a young monk wrapped in orange. It's nice. That's Metatron's. He's all the colors, as are you. But Metatron is often depicted with the orange. And orange also assists us in many things, right? Just looking at the color orange, I feel warm. I think of summer. I think of cracking up the aroma of orange and citrus, and it's very uplifting, right? And also very healing, and it absorbs trauma and shock, right? So the energies of trauma and shock in the body, wrap yourself in orange and it can really assist you in those things, whether you feel it in the body, maybe emotionally, mentally, physically. Usually it's impacts all of it. And you can wrap yourself in orange and visualize the color of orange supporting you, right? And even if you're further along, right, in your meditative practice, you can still picture it and just pray and call on Metatron's energy to assist you, and just absorbing any remnants of shock or trauma within the cellular body and the light within yourself, right? Any of your soul history. Bring all that present to this present moment in your meditation, every timeline, every universe, every dimension known and unknown to you. You can clear all those patterns and support it here as you come into your prayers, right? There's all this healing energy too, this healing, this rejuvenation energy, this hope energy, as we see the darker greens and yellows and lime colors and olive colors. And then we see this bright sunlight. To me, it looks more like a portal of light, and this plane flying overhead, and the golden colors too. And we come back to some orange, peachy orange in the distance, right? And this beautiful blue aqua water. And then, of course, the lotus in his hands being illuminated. It almost looks like that light is coming out and creating the light in the sky, right? And we even see this other plane in the distance, but also look at its shape. You know, it could come across as a dove, but also a star. And it reminds me of the rods and staffs, right? As we come into alignment with our Christ itself, the rods and staffs, right? In embodying that Christ light within ourselves, since we bring that and anchor it into the earth, and support the earth in her ascension, right? But as you go into prayer, it's such a beautiful thing to even just this literal pieces of being in nature and the connectedness with nature. Look at the roots coming down, right? The roots of the tree, right? It goes in, it connects with everything. How might your prayers allow you to connect more deeply and into the roots of what is, as you go into the 0 point and bring enlightenment into your body, into your being, as your own heart begins to open up, as it's depicted, right? That lotus opening up within you, the lotus flower opening, the 1,000 petals opening up the crown, right? The lotus opening up your heart center, right? I don't know all the numbers, but you can look that up when it's referred to in the yogic traditions, right? There's an image of the lotus flower and the number of petals at each primary chakra center. And I mean the primary 7 that so many of us are aware of, even though there's an infinite amount of chakras within the chakra system and that get activated within your body. But look at that glassy, pure water as well. And we have that divine, it makes me think of the mother energy too, and our emotions. How might your prayer bring clarity too, right? When you go into prayer and the depth of you and connect to the light within yourself, there's clarity, there's purity, there's warmth. It's a very nurturing place to be as you remember to go inward and contemplate and connect, right? It's contemplation and connection. It's a time of peace, right? A time of peace. And how might you even take that into a walking prayer, a walking meditation, if you will, and connect with that energy that's within you. And you begin to feel such a more pure state of mind, a pure state of being, right? You can travel. When you go into deep prayer, you begin to travel. You connect and feel as your soul travels, as your physical body is anchored to the earth. It's quite a magical experience, and peaceful experience. And how might you take that into your day-to-day, right? Take that into the day-to-day, as we had in the freedom card the day before, right? We're up in the balloon, big landscape. Now here we are on the ground in prayer. We're bringing that light is shining out within you, right? You go upward to ascend and descend that energy into the body and then express it outward. So you go inward to bring that energy in, and then it gets expressed outward to the world within you. So wherever your presence is, you bring light too. Okay, but let's see what the deck has to share with us. And just a reminder, this is a journey that's inspired by the Christ consciousness self-mastery deck created by Amanda Ellis. And this is card number, excuse me, my eyes, 19, if I'm reading that correctly. 19, we'll see. Yep, 19. What is this? Prayer and contemplation, excuse me, prayer, connection and contemplation. When you have doubts and worries, pray. When you wish to express gratitude, pray. When you need strength, pray. Prayer is therapeutic for you now and can be done in any moment, in any place, when alone or when with company. To sit and commune with a higher power, the universe, or your guides and helpers, it puts back into perspective and helps balance your mind, body, and soul. Setting time aside to pray connects you with all the help you require, the energy to sustain you, and the solace and comfort you seek. To pray is not to demand answers and solutions or to seek what you alone want, but to surrender to the flow of the universe, which knows what is best for you and all concerned. I'm going to pause there, right? Because with the freedom card, we were going into a little bit of that higher presence, that I am present, seeing all parts, right? Those that read Akashic record, going into the higher self, seeing all aspects to support us, right? And we can go into prayer and allow this ascension process to take place with more ease, with more grace, even when we don't understand the full facets of what is truly occurring, right? We know we're growing, we know we're expanding, we know what we know right now, but we're very much in a threshold experience or an experience of the unknown. And how might prayer support you in deepening your trust, your faith, and being at one with the universe and allowing it to unfold before you, and just be in this grounded state of prayer. Allow it to support you through the process of ascension and how that is showing up in your waking life, right? How's it showing up with you? Okay. There's often a divine timing, right? Yeah, divine timing at play with prayer, but our cries for help are always heard and answered in ways we often don't recognize. Just knowing that you are heard is powerful and cathartic, opening doorways to healing and peace. To be in prayer is to be present, to pause and to be still, allowing the outside world to proceed and the inner one to grow, as we see depicted in the card, right? With a lot of activity in the sky, there's the city in the background, but yet he's opening what I would say is the lotus of his heart, and right, and that's growing and expanding. He's finding and creating the stillness. You don't have to find it, you create it within yourself. The stillness and the illumination comes in, right? And you quiet the mind, you quiet the body. There's always peace inside you, right? God hears you, right? It reminds me of a recent person that every now and then I watch what he shares with others, and I don't agree with the delivery of his message. However, the message he's sending is not lost, but recognizing, like, if any of you, and I used to be in the same place and sometimes still am, where we just want someone to hear us and understand it. We're like beating our head and create more suffering because we want someone to be in a place where they just don't, either they don't hear us, they don't agree with us. So it's not about agreeing with us, where we have to give that to ourselves, right? And then I realized too, in one of my responses, is I've grown when I commune with God and communicate with God and connect with God through prayer and thought, that I'm always heard. I can hear myself and trust that God and the universe hears me, and be able to hold a higher perspective and a sacredness for others around me that may not see me as clear as I would like them to. And that's okay. As long as I can see clearly, as long as I can be at peace with myself and what I do, right? Going back to that freedom card a little bit, we're no longer concerned with how others see us. You're free to be yourself. And it doesn't mean you're rude or like all these things, but you become the insecurity that many of us go through. We're no longer insecure how others receive us or a sense of belonging, because the deeper you recognize you do belong here, you are a child of God and hold the light of God within you. There's always a belonging. There's always a knowing that you are connected to something powerful within yourself and within everybody. And then you are truly never alone. You are always heard and felt, and vice versa, right? You can feel and hear others in life. right? Even the tree can bear witness, even the bird can bear witness. Your animals can bear witness to you, because that too is life and light of God in front of you. It's in all of creation. And I'm going to repeat this line because I feel it's important. And all of us, myself included, forget to be here in this space. To be in prayer is to be present, to pause and to be still, allowing the outside world to recede and the inner one to grow. Maybe you have been very busy or have not had time for yourself or your spiritual needs, since modern life is often frantic, noisy, and fast-paced. But prayer slows down vibration so that focus, healing, and balance can be restored. So those of you that are feeling kind of swept away with all these energies right now, maybe a little kind of chaotic in the head or mind, I know for myself, I have felt that, but when I shut everything off and I just breathe and go back into prayer and put my focus there, it really calms the energy down. It's like you have to slow down in order to speed up. It allows my body, my mind, my emotions to calibrate to the speed at which life is going, the speed at which light is moving, the speed at which light is moving within me. When we stop, breathe, pause, contemplate, connect, it supports your calibration of the energetics that are occurring. Okay. So you can restore balance, healing, and focus. It's really important right now for you to create time every day to just be in stillness. And it doesn't have to be for an hour or two. It could be as small as 5 minutes of focused time, of focused breathing and going inward. For those of you that maybe need to develop a little bit more practice, then spend 30 minutes. And we all have time to do it, right? We all spend time watching TV or doing something else. You can create time to do it. Okay. Have the freedom within yourself to do it. Okay. There's nothing too small or large that you can't offer up to God. Anything that requires illumination and light can be prayed over. Prayer is never wasted time, but is essential for greater clarity, faith, and endurance. Prayer can take us into a meditative state, changing our neural pathways in the brain and enhancing our empathy and understanding. It has both physical and spiritual effects that are long-reaching. And thinking about the neural pathways in the brain, it absolutely does change your brain. They've measured it, they've done studies on it, but there's also what happens as we're evolving is there's a secretion that comes along through the spinal column. John St. Julian, I think he's one of the best and well-spoken people that really hold the Christ consciousness ways of being. He describes the sacred secretion, and he goes into the anatomy of it and what occurs in the body and the spiritual components. John St. Julian. Yeah, he's one of the few people I have witnessed in his sharings who really has embodied the Christ consciousness energies and lives it. But check out one of his, I think he has a couple of videos on the sacred secretion that some of you may be interested in. And he really articulates it really well, because that too is also what occurs in our bodies, right? It's because we're going through a level of attainment. The magnetism of our ascension occurs, right? And we see it actually physically happen within the spinal column, from the brain stem all the way down through the spinal column and the nervous system. Okay. Prayer will also help you reflect upon where you are on your spiritual journey and what parts of your journey are a struggle and require help. It shows our commitment to evolving and learning and growing. Like a seed without water, a person without prayer will find it hard to thrive. Prayer puts you in touch with the energy you seek for whatever you now face. We know Jesus instructed his followers to meaningful prayer and not prayer for the sake of being seen to do so either. He alluded to the private nature of prayer and laid down the Lord's Prayer as teaching template, which encompasses giving thanks, asking for forgiveness, putting trust and faith in a higher power, and keeping lower energies and temptations away. This actually reminds me of a client I recently had, and we had this brief conversation, how she's gone to temple and she went midweek and she's like, oh God, I gotta go midweek more often. I'm all, yeah, right, because it's quiet, right? And she's yeah, I can actually hear myself be with God, right? Because it's a very personal and private thing as you foster your connection and relationship to God, the universe, the God within you, to hear yourself. That's not to say there isn't power when we connect together and pray together, but it's important to create that time for yourself. It's part of your self-care. It's part of your self-mastery is to pray. And in the way in which you pray, if you haven't already noticed, changes. You evolve in the prayer. You evolve in the way in which you pray and connect and contemplate. Prayer is not meant to be difficult. The child in this card has mastered it. The child in this card has mastered it, knowing instinctively how to do it, even against a city backdrop. There is a nod to the tranquility that can be found in nature also, a park, a garden, a stream, or a tree, anything living that connects us to the power and beauty that is God's creation all around us. We don't need an ornate building to pray in. We just need ourselves and a moment to pause, breathe, and practice the art of communing with what we seek. In silence or via spoken word, prayer is a lifesaver and life sustainer. Enjoy a moment in today. Enjoy a moment in prayer today. And that also reminds me in that same conversation, I had told her, excuse me, I have something in my nose, where I said, oh yeah, I remember, sharing some time with a pastor. Now, I don't go to church. I haven't for decades, and because it didn't feel right for me to be in the way the message was being delivered. And my dad had told me, he's all, gee, if it makes you that angry to go to church, then maybe you shouldn't go. And I was grateful for that. And I said, thank you, because I don't want to go here anymore. But I also knew deep in my heart that God is wherever I go. So I shared with her that story. And then years later, someone trying to bring me in as part of their going to their church. And I said, no, I'm good. Haven't you learned already? God is wherever you go. And so her and I were having that conversation, and she's like, oh yeah, she's beginning to really embrace that aspect that I can be in nature, right? As the message is here, I can be anywhere and pray and connect with God, right? And allow that practice to unfold for you. Now, I'm not suggesting that you leave your temple or your church or synagogue or however you practice. I'm just encouraging you, you can take it with you wherever you go, because it's within your heart. It's within your heart. It's within the whole of nature. It's around you everywhere. So take some time today, some silence, even if it's in a walk, it could be moving. You don't have to be sitting like this young man is. You can go for a walk in nature. That's when I feel the most connected, is when I walk or as I'm doing this work here. Like something within me, all the stuff within my mind calms down, and I come into this other level of focus, and even feel the change in my voice and the softness in it. And then I go and then I feel better and rejuvenated and just at peace. So go find a place to bring peace to yourself in prayer and light your way. All right. I'm Gina, and I'll see you again on next time on day 49. Much love to all of you.